Some mythical creatures are mentioned not only in the legends of different peoples, but also in books, including the Bible. These include Moloch, who was one of the supreme deities of the Palestinians and Carthaginians, and, in fact, was a demon. What do legends say about this creature? And how can he give a person luck? If you open the biblical texts, the very first phrases about Moloch may seem terrible to a modern person. The Holy Book says that Moloch was worshipped by the Moabites and Ammonites. At the same time, the gift to the deity was a bloody sacrifice in which these peoples gave their children to the demon. Why was the belief in the power of Moloch so strong? Let's try to figure it out. The first answer to this question is the translation of the demon's name from Hebrew. It turns out that it has a very eloquent meaning: royal. This god was indeed one of the supreme immortals in the ancient pantheon. Given his bloodthirstiness and warlike nature, Moloch is often compared to Baal, who was worshipped in the same regions. Moloch was not just feared, but revered as the arbiter of the fates of people and entire nations. It is no coincidence that the demon, or deity, was called the Lord of the Land of Tears. During terrible sacrifices, when babies were thrown into the fire, mothers' tears were considered nectar for Moloch. This god could not exist without human suffering and torment, which were not only his food, but also a guarantee of power. This is told in the legends recorded in the Old Testament. Surprisingly, even the wise Solomon could not resist the worship of Moloch, in whose honor he built a huge sanctuary. Later, it was on it that monstrous sacrifices were made to the demon. This emphasizes that in ancient times, the Jewish lands were also under the rule of Moloch, whose cult was very widespread. Just imagine what territories the worship of this deity covered, from Carthage to Judea. The collapse of Moloch's power comes during the reign of Moses, whose ideas were much more popular among the Jews than the worship of the bloody deity. As ancient texts note, it was the prophet who first began the fight against murders in the name of the demon. The sanctuaries of Moloch were destroyed to the ground, and any mention of him was considered a desecration of the true God. One of the most ardent opponents of the evil deity was Josiah, the Jewish king, who destroyed many altars of the demon. However, this was only the beginning of the fight, because what had been cultivated among the people for centuries is not so easy to destroy in a few years. Echoes of the worship of Moloch flared up again in individual regions or Jewish communities. Why did people voluntarily perform terrible rituals, giving their children to the demonic god? It was believed that it was after offering a terrible gift to Moloch that a person would gain constant luck. The demonic creature living in the underworld received tribute from the mortal, and in return endowed him with abilities that an ordinary person could not even dream of. What does this look like? Agree. Such a situation resembles selling a soul to the devil, who did everything that a person asked for. That is why many of the features of Moloch were later preserved in his follower, who is opposed to God. But the effectiveness of the ritual of sacrifice to Moloch, oddly enough, was proven by history itself. Many people believed even more in the power of the deity after Carthage was saved from the onslaught of the Greeks. According to legend, for this reason, the children of noble families of the city were sacrificed to Moloch. The Babylonians are considered to be the first people to put an end to the power of Moloch. When they captured the Jews in 586, they began to eradicate the belief in the terrible god from this people. It was probably during this period that the worship of Moloch began to collapse. As ancient sources note, Moloch was defeated by foreigners, probably the Babylonians or Assyrians, who at that time were themselves fighting against the worship of the demon. But despite the history of terrible sacrifices to the deity, his image has always aroused the interest of people. In tropical countries, there is a type of lizard that scientists have called Moloch. The reason for this is in the two growths on the animal's head, which makes it seem as if the lizard is wearing a horned helmet. When the era of technological progress begins, Moloch reincarnates in the understanding of people. Now it is a mechanism that has no feelings or pity, and therefore sweeps away everything in its path. But supporters of Judaism believe that Moloch is imprinted with the image of the main enemy of the Messiah. His name is Mashiach Shedem, and he will be defeated during the coming of the Messiah, when all discord and evil will leave the earth forever. And adherents of the Kabbalistic worldview consider Moloch one of the supreme demons, who are opposed to the forces of light. Of course, Moloch is one of the most mysterious figures in mythology, but it is really gratifying that the insane worship of this demonic deity is a thing of the past. In my opinion, Moloch in modern times has become a symbol of heartless indifference, a reward for which the price is too high. Fortunately, today this demon and worship of him can only be found in books and films that reveal to us the cruel world of ancient beliefs.